Welcome back to Football Daily, where today we're bringing you 10 times the fans got it horribly wrong. Let's go. 10. Barca star, Spurs flop. An £18 million signing in 2013 after the departure of Gareth Bale, Paulinho is the 12th most expensive arrival in Spurs history. 24 at the time, the Brazilian joined from Corinthians despite competition from Inter Milan. A domestic champion and winner of the Copa Libertadores, Paulinho was expected to shore up a porous Lily White's midfield. However, with a goal every 5 games, Paulinho failed to live up to his new Lampard label, while Spurs conceded 51 goals in 38 Premier League matches in his first season, showing that he wasn't contributing on the defensive side either. His errant shooting and shocking touch saw him flogged to Chinese side Guangzhou Evergrande in 2015, and in 2017, he was voted Tottenham's worst signing ever by readers of 442. However, Paulinho won 6 trophies in 3 years in China and caught the attention of Barcelona, who paid £38 million for the Brazilian in 2017, 4 times the amount Spurs sold him for. He now looks set to win another league title, and he's close to a half-century of caps for his country, with 6 goals in his last 14 appearances. Felipe Coutinho may be the most expensive January transfer ever now, but in 2009, it looked certain that Kaka would hold that title. The Brazilian, a Ballon d'Or and Champions League winner 2 years earlier, was linked with a move to a newly flushed Man City, who had been taken over by Sheikh Mansour 5 months earlier and had already spent £140 million on players. City had offered £108 million for Kaka to supplement the recent acquisitions of Kompany, Zabaleta, Robinho and Joe, and were willing to pay the midfielder £500k a week, by far the highest wage in football history. Milan were in debt at the time, and the board admitted that if Kaka wanted to leave, they would be forced to let him. And one City fan was so confident in the former Sao Paulo man's arrival that he got Kaka's name tattooed on his chest, alongside those of Robinho and Sean Gota. Sadly, deadline day came and went without the superstar making his way to Manchester, while Robinho lasted just 2 years before leaving for AC Milan. The tattooed superfan was philosophical though, reasoning that he could just name his kids Kaka and Robinho one day. 8. Alonso and Luiz. Antonio Conte's first summer at Chelsea got mixed reviews at the time. N'Golo Kante was considered a great acquisition, but Michy Batshuayi was expected to spend most of his time on the bench, and the defence needed some work. Moves stalled for Leonardo Bonucci and Kalidou Koulibaly, and when Marcos Alonso and David Luiz arrived for a combined £58 million in the final hours of the window, it was labelled desperation. Luiz had left for Paris just 2 years earlier, while Alonso had featured in the Premier League with Bolton and Sunderland, and had never won a cap for Spain. Neither one was expected to offer much, but after a rocky start to the season, Conte switched to a 3-4-3 perfectly designed to maximise their talents. The Blues went on a run of 13 consecutive victories, equalling the Premier League record, won 30 games, the most ever, and reached a tally of 93 points, the second highest in the division's history. And the defence was key, conceding 33 goals in 38 games, and Luiz was named in the team of the season, while Alonso finished the campaign with 6 league goals, more than Cesc Fabregas. 7. Gambling goofs. Football fandom makes us all do stupid things, but spare a thought for those people who have let their love of their club run their bank balance. Back in 2001, one Spurs fan was suckered into a huge gamble during a game against Man United. Tottenham were 3-0 up at half-time with goals from Christian Ziege, Les Ferdinand and new £8 million signing Dean Richards, and the supporter decided to capitalise on a sure thing, staking his whole mortgage on a Spurs win. However, you could never count out Fergie's United, and the Red Devils bagged 5 second-half goals to run out winners. One of just 4 times in Premier League history that a club has come back to win from 3 goals down. The fan went home to a house he could no longer afford, but he isn't the only one to fall afoul of the bookies. One Leicester fan placed a £10 bet on the Foxes to win the 15-16 Prem title after the club took 22 points from 27 at the end of the previous season. The following March, the Foxes had spent 18 of the season's 31 weeks top of the league, and with 7 games left sat 5 points clear of second place Tottenham. But rather than hold on till the end of the season, Sam North cashed out his bet for £28,907.51. Leicester ended up going unbeaten over the run-in, meaning Sam could have won £50,000 if he just kept the faith. 6. Ibe versus Sterling. Raheem Sterling has always been a bit special. In 184 Prem appearances at the time of writing, the wide man has been involved in 74 goals and has a win percentage of 57%, and he's just 23. However, his move to Man City in 2015 didn't come easy. On the advice of agent AD Ward, Sterling gave an interview in which he said he wanted to leave Liverpool, while the Reds briefed press that they had offered the young Englishman $100k a week, prompting every middle-aged football journo to whine about the forward's so-called entitlement. When Ward claimed publicly that Sterling wouldn't sign a new contract even for $500k a week, the relationship broke, and he was allowed to join City for £49 million. The FSG propaganda machine then went into overdrive. Former players Jamie Redknapp and Dirk Maharman claimed that Liverpool were better off without the youngster, and that Jordan Ibe, then yet to score or assist for the club, would be the superior player. A stupid opinion that was echoed by every Scouser on Twitter. Ibe was characterised as humble, hard-working and loyal, while Sterling was labelled a snake and a mercenary, who was ungrateful for what Liverpool had given him. Ironic, given that the Reds had poached him from QPR's academy 5 years earlier. However, the snake got the last laugh when Liverpool eventually gave up and sold Ibe to Bournemouth in 2016. The same year, Pep Guardiola arrived at the Etihad. 5. Sherwood for Pochettino. Tim Sherwood was never meant to be Tottenham manager. A former player at the club, Sherwood took over when Andre Villas-Boas was sacked in December 2013 after a year and a half in the job. Spurs had just lost 5-0 at home to Liverpool, and Sherwood was expected to steady the ship until the end of the season. What followed is one of the luckiest campaigns in Premier League history, which no one noticed because Spurs still finished 6th. Sherwood's tactics included playing Kyle Walker as a number 10, Nasser Chadli as a defensive midfielder, and benching Christian Eriksen in favour of Aaron Lennon. But remarkably, Tottenham won half of his 28 games in charge, despite suffering a 5-1 loss to Man City and 4-0 defeats to Chelsea and Liverpool in the run-in. At the end of the season, Daniel Levy sacked Sherwood to bring in Maurizio Pochettino, and whiny English fans went berserk, claiming Tactics Tim deserved a full season in charge, while The Independent even suggested that a foreign coach would have little understanding of Tottenham Hotspur's proud heritage. Poch subsequently delivered 5th, 3rd and 2nd place finishes, while Sherwood clocked up a 36% win percentage with Villa and served as director of football at Swindon Town as the club got relegated to League 2. 4. Stoke fans booing Ramsey. This season and in 2013-14, we've seen glimpses of what Aaron Ramsey could have been if he had better fitness. In those 2 campaigns, the Welshman who cost the Gunners £5 million as a 17-year-old scored and assisted 30 goals in 41 appearances, getting his name on the score sheet every 105 minutes. Not bad. But he has also suffered 14 major injuries since arriving in North London and has missed an insane 653 days to fitness problems, largely thanks to one horrific challenge. In February 2010, Ramsey was in excellent form, featuring in 18 of Arsenal's 27 league games before an away trip to Stoke. But in the course of his team's 3-1 win, the 19-year-old was crunched by Ryan Shawcross, resulting in a red card for the defender and a double leg break for Ramsey. The youngster was stretchered off, took 8 months to return to training, and another 5 to play for Arsenal again. Shawcross was genuinely upset and wrote to Ramsey to apologise, but the midfielder refused to accept it, still angry at having his career put in jeopardy. As a result, Stoke fans still boo him to this day and have been heard to sing "Aaron Ramsey, he walks with a limp." What lovely guys. 3. Premature celebration. Schalke fans have had their fair share of hardship, having gone 60 years without winning the Bundesliga after lifting 7 titles in the previous 25. But their most famous failure has to be in 2000-2001, when they were competing against Bayern Munich, who else for the German Championship. Schalke had the best defence in the league, the only one to have conceded under a goal a game, and going into the last match day they faced relegation strugglers Unterhaching at home, while Bayern travelled to Hamburg. Only a Schalke win and a Bayern loss would take the trophy to Gelsenkirchen, and what followed was one of the most entertaining days in Bundesliga history. Having gone 2-0 down, Schalke brought it back to 2-2 by half-time, going behind again in the second period before running out 5-3 winners, with top scorer Ebbe Sand getting his 22nd of the campaign. Meanwhile, Bayern had conceded in the 90th minute, and Schalke fans invaded the pitch to celebrate the end of 4 decades without a title alongside their heroes. However, in the 4th minute of injury time, the Bavarians got a free kick in the box after the Hamburg keeper handled the back pass. With specialist Mehmet Scholl already subbed, Stefan Effenberg gave the ball to hammer-footed centre-back Patrick Anderson, who battered it in to equalise. Schalke fans continued to party, oblivious to the news, as their club became known as the 4-minute champions. 2. Frank Lampard at West Ham. The son of a former West Ham player, Frank Lampard joined the club's academy at 16, and after a brief loan to Swansea, would go on to play almost 200 times for the Irons, finishing the 1999-2000 season as their second highest scorer at the age of 21. Of course, Lamps would eventually appear over 600 times for Chelsea and become the 4th most prolific player in Premier League history, 2 goals ahead of Thierry Henry. But at the beginning, his quality was less obvious. Handed his first senior contract and debut at Upton Park by his uncle Harry Redknapp, Lampard seemed to have been given an unfair advantage over other young prospects, in an academy which produced the likes of Rio Ferdinand, Michael Carrick and Jermaine Defoe. And so in 1996, at a fans' forum with Redknapp and Lampard on stage, one supporter told the manager that the midfielder was not good enough for the club, and was taking up the place of stars in waiting like Scott Canham. Who? Redknapp told the crowd that Canham was not good enough, but that Frank will go right to the very top. Canham now runs a car repair business. 1. Luka Modric. Perhaps the world's most spoiled fan base, sorry Liverpool and Arsenal fans, Real Madrid expect a lot of their marquee signings. So when Luka Modric joined from Tottenham in 2012 for £30 million, the white flags and whistles were waiting for him at the Bernabeu. Modric had almost switched to Chelsea the year before, so the signing was a coup, even for a fee which remains among Madrid's 20 most expensive today. But Modric had missed pre-season as he tried to force his way out of London, and Jose Mourinho preferred the strength of Khedira and Alonso to the 5'8" magician, with the Croatian making just 8 league starts by January. And so in a Marca poll conducted that winter, Modric was named the worst signing of the season by 32% of the voters, closely followed by Alex Song, who joined Barcelona from Arsenal. 3 goals and 3 assists in 33 league appearances was hardly Galactico form, but the arrival of Carlo Ancelotti changed everything. Ancelotti reconstructed the midfield around him, with support from Alonso and Di Maria giving him freedom. The reward was a Champions League title, and another 2 have followed, as well as 3 appearances in the FIFA Pro World 11. As bad signings go, Modric is one of the very best. So thanks once again for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to click on screen right now, check out one of our other cracking videos, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe.